Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Lojak. We are previewing Week 4 of the NFL preseason right now with SBR contributor Dave Golikoff, and right now we're going to cover the Falcons and Jaguars. Dave Golikoff, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Pete.
All right, the Jaguars have covered all 3 of their preseason games, and both the Jags and the Falcons have gone under in all 3 of their respective preseason games. So I guess at first glance, you might want to be leaning towards the Jags at -3.5 and the under 40.5. And the Falcons are pretty clearly, clicking on all cylinders with their starters, but they're looking towards the regular season. They lost their last 2 preseason games against the spread by a mile, so it's pretty clear that they're just trying to get out of this, preseason relatively healthy and, not give their, they're probably going to rest their starters and their big weapons for most of this game, if not all the games. So I guess, and Blake Bortles is playing well for the Jaguars at quarterback, and he is probably going to see a decent amount of playing time here. So is that what you like here? Jags -3.5 and maybe under 40.5?
Yeah, I think you pretty much nailed it. I mean, we'll leave the total aside for a second here, but you take a look at the makeup of these two teams. The Jags, this is a team that looks like, at least in this preseason, like the bottom, they've hit the bottom previously, and now they're starting to feel good about the direction that they're going into. There's a lot of competition around the roster, young guys really looking to perform, looking to make this team, they're upbeat. Whereas you got a Falcons team, they're veterans. They know what their identity is. They know what they're all about. On top of that, this is a veteran team that is thin on depth as far as the defense goes. Not a lot of depth pretty much at every level of the defense. Not a lot of depth on the offensive line. They can't afford to lose any receivers because it's really just the big 2 and nobody else. And of course, they have issues at running back with depth, as none of those guys really perform well. And they can't afford to lose Matt Ryan, that's for sure, because the Falcons are probably a 2-win team without Matt Ryan this year. So the Falcons can ill afford to lose anybody. The Jags are upbeat. They're playing with a lot of confidence. And then lastly, I think the point that really seals it for me for the Jags play is that the Falcons typically don't play well in Week 4 of the preseason under Mike Smith. They're 1-5 straight up in Week 4 of the preseason. They're not a good preseason team any week really under Mike Smith, but in particular Week 2 and Week 5 are his worst weeks. So I think the Jags are definitely a play here.
All right, even at -3.5. Kind of a big line for a preseason game, but makes a lot of sense to me. That's the way I was leaning as well. And that's it, just Jags -3.5. Don't want to touch the total for a recommendation?
Yeah, I don't really know what the Falcons' backups are going to contribute. Right. I don't really, it's a tough handicap for me. I don't really have a good read either way as far as the total goes.
All right, Jags -3.5 it is. Thanks so much, Dave.